with Scott. It's midnight, always midnight. Right ear, left ear. Gonna be listening to some boxing videos with Scott. It's midnight, always midnight. Right ear, left ear. It's quite basic, that, isn't it? 1 2 check chuffy 1 2. Gonna be listening to some boxing videos with Scott. It's midnight, always midnight. Right ear, left ear. It's quite basic, that, isn't it? 1 2 check chuffy 1 2. Gonna be listening to some boxing videos with Scott. It's midnight, always midnight. Right ear, left ear. And playing a bit of Hearthstone, just chilling.
This is Rob Tubbett for ID Boxing. Delighted, as always, to be joined by former WBO middleweight champion of the world, Andy Lee. We're here in Manchester ahead.
It's good, isn't it? Because it's ID Boxing. What? ID Boxing, but it's Rob Tubbett. Yeah, Rob Tubbett, who did all that work on Boxing Social. I don't know the ins and outs, but I thought Boxing Social, when it came around, was the best boxing channel about. It was better than IFL. Came up as a... I remember I was there from the start with Boxing Social. Really there from the start. You know, watching it early days, little views, best episodes though, best interviews. Same sort of premise as all the other boxing channels, isn't it? Just interviews with boxers and people, but the best ones. Thinking Man's IFL. Very pleased with Boxing Social. Now they've binned off. It's so weird. They binned off Rob Tubbett somehow, legally. I don't know what's going on. And they've got in this other guy, and the other guy's just a wanker. I'll show you an Eddie Hearn interview from earlier. I'll show you the difference, look. I'll show you the difference. Where was it? History, it'll be library, which will be history, won't it? This one.
Okay, Paramount Plus.
Oh yeah, chuffering advert. Wait till you hear this chuffer though. Wait till I've already watched this video. I don't need to watch another fucking advert on it, do I? I've already watched it once, you idiots. Serving me more adverts, Jesus. Don't I watch my advert for this video? Skip. Right. This is Boxing Social. It used to be the Thinking Man's IFL. Used to be.
Charlie Parsons, Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Oh, we've just done it on my phone here, but I've got to do it for the video and for the people watching. Mate, what the fuck are you wearing? You're 43? Mate, you're wearing Jordan, you're 43.
Firstly, Michael Jordan's a lot older than 43.
Yeah, but it's Michael Jordan, you're Eddie Hearn.
I'm on the same level as Michael Jordan. What's the matter with you?
Right, who is this idiot of an interviewer? You can't wear Michael Jordan, you're 43. Doesn't he, like Eddie Hearn pointed out? You know, Eddie was looking up to Michael Jordan when he was a kid. Fucking, what do you know about Michael Jordan, you idiot? You weren't even live when he was playing. What do you know about Jordan? You know, it's only people 40 and above know about Jordan, you chuffer, so what are you on about? Criticising the man's dress sense anyway.
On a serious note, you've got to learn to be more versatile with your clobber. Just because I look good in a double-breasted suit and my Dolce & Gabbana gear doesn't mean I can't go down JD and fill the basket with Jumpman. Now, you are becoming too one-dimensional.
Eddie Hearn trying to be one of the lads, innit? He's one of the lads.
You're still in your women's jacket, you've got a chain on that you got on a beach somewhere off one of those geezers who walks around selling dodgy gear. I don't know what these things are. They're like snide Gucci tracksuit bottoms with a fake Palm Angels. Like, you've got to be versatile. I want to see you switch it up. So today I'm just switching it up. Got a little pair of McQueen jeans.
Look at the state of that pattern on your jumper. What? The state of the pattern.
Mate.
What is? Looks like something I made in art class in year 2.
Mate, well you've only just come out of year 2.
Banner.
Yeah, it was actually.
And the response from Parsons here, ha, banter. Like, you were doing all that banter twat thing, and then you were egging it back at Eddie, ha, banter, because you haven't got anything to say. Like, you sound like a fucking idiot. Oh, it's something I did in year 2. Are you still thinking about school years, are you? You fucking idiot. Like, leave me alone. I want to watch boxing interviews. I do not want to ever hear this fucking Parsons
Coming
twat.
too one-dimensional.
Never want to hear this Parsons twat again.
You're still in your women's jacket, you've got a chain on that you got on a beach.
Eddie plays up to it because that's what he's getting from the interviewer.
Somewhere off one of those geezers who walks around selling dodgy gear. I don't know what these things are. They're like snide Gucci tracksuit bottoms with a fake Palm Angels. Like, you've got to be versatile. I want to see you switch it up. So today I'm just switching it up. Got a little pair of McQueen jeans.
Look at the state of that pattern on your jumper. What? The state of the pattern.
Mate.
What is? Looks like something I made in art class in year 2.
Mate, well you've only just come out of year 2. So,
Oh, banner.
yeah, it was actually. That's a good one. You twat Parsons. Right, come on, let's do the interview.
Mate, you're a prick. Right.
He calls him a prick. He says you twat Parsons because Parsons is being a twat. Parsons calls him a prick. He calls him a prick again in the interview a bit later. Vinka, are you going to keep messing around because you're being a twat? You're going to have to go. Yeah, alright. It's just getting on my nerves. I mean, it's really bad form, isn't it, to call the person you're interviewing a prick? Even, banter, you're a prick. Like, Parsons is such a twat. I can't listen to that shit. It's not a boxing interview, yeah? This used to be the Thinking Man's boxing channel. What's happened to it? Well, the Thinking Man's gone, and he's set up his own channel. So this is what we watch now, ID Boxing.
This is Rob Tubbett for ID Boxing. Delighted, as always, to be joined by former WBO middleweight champion of the world, Andy Lee. We're here in Manchester ahead of Joe Joyce versus Joseph Parker. Andy, how are you? Nice to see you. By former
Good, Rob.
See the difference? Media quality, nice camera, nice lens, bit of bokeh, people walking around the distance. He's got his own microphone. I wouldn't give the people their own microphone. They don't know microphone technique. But you know, he's thinking about the sound quality. Everything's thought about here. Again, also you're shooting into a light, which is a mistake, but things have been thought about at least. And so the media quality is better. Also, they're not calling each other twats and bantering. Banter, you prick. They're just actually talking about boxing, so it's much better.
Day away from the fight. All the work is done. My job is almost done.
I'm going to play a bit of Hearthstone as well, but I'm not going to talk my way through it. I'm just going to do it.
Talk to people if you can and just give an insight into the last few days before a big fight. This is a big fight.
Snips.
This is a big heavyweight fight. There's a lot on the line. Different fighters in different environments.
My sister's gone out into town drinking with my dad and one of his mates, and she's not come home yet, so Mum's eggy and anxious, and no one's gone to bed yet. So I'm still up. I mean, my sister has texted my mum to say she's at the hotel having a drink, but I'm not going to go any further with the conversation than that. I think Mum's was on the starting blocks to think she was going to go and pick her up, but I don't know.
Can be different, I'm assuming, in the build-up to fights. What's this week been like? What's Joe been like? And what are your plans really between now and the fight?
Just been very relaxed. His normal self.
Fucking hell, man.
I think when you know you've done the work, you're secure in that.
I'm making myself cross now, setting a fire.
And yeah, just it's my job and the rest of the people who are around him, the team's job, to insulate him from distractions or insulate him from negative stuff.
I'll just quickly tell you, since you might not know, Andy Lee's a really smart, he's a thinking fighter. He's a smart fighter. He's not the most, he's not university educated. He was a travelling man, one of the gypsies. But instead of stealing things or becoming like a domestic abuser or something, he's decided to go into professional violence. And so, as a fighter, he got a world title. Very well respected in the professional violence scene. He got a world title. And as a coach now, he's quite connected with Tyson Fury and the whole travel a lot. But as a coach now, he's coaching Joseph Parker as his main charge. So there we go. We're going to be listening to his thoughts on Joe Parker versus Joe Joyce.
Be happening.
He's a very shrewd man as well. So he won't be telling you exactly the answer to the question every time. He'll be telling you what's best for him and his team. Very shrewd man.
With the promotion or with their venue, anything that pops up. So it's our job to control that and make sure that it doesn't affect Joe. Just keep him happy, relaxed, well fed, well hydrated, and mentally ready for the fight.
I'll just ask you, so when you speak, just to lower your mic a little bit so the ID Boxing audience can see that handsome face that we're all...
What did I just say? Your interviewee will not understand mic technique. So you're not... Rob Tebbett here is making a mistake. He should not be having his interviewees controlling the microphone. What he needs is a little boom mic on a stand and just to point it in where it needs to go. Or, better yet, a little lavalier mic and just clip it on the fuckers. And then you're away, aren't you? You clipped your mic on. That's that. But the technique of here, hold this, not going to work. It's going to be a continual thorn in your side. Sort it now. Just get a little clip on mic, you fool.
Accustomed to seeing on our interviews.
I'm saying fool. Obviously, I respect him and he's a thinking man and a good media producer, but I don't understand this mistake. But
bit of poker been knocking around in the last couple of days. Rudely wasn't given an invitation myself, although you have invited me to the game tonight. Yeah, one of the many things that happens in fight week.
Yeah, we didn't know you were a shark, so but we'd like to see what you got. When I taught Joseph and his brother John to play poker for the first Chisora fight, and since then it's become a staple in the camp. 3 or 4 times a day playing games, only for £10 a game, but they're pretty good now. Pretty good. I don't win.
Nails salon.
I'm surprised that Joe never learned how to play poker, considering he's in Las Vegas all the time. But maybe he was spending his time doing other things in Las Vegas.
But Joe's a funny guy. Like Joe said, "Oh, I don't know how to play," but then he'd be telling me, "Oh, make sure get your auntie in, or bets up." So he does know. It was like one day we were in Morecambe and we wanted to play a game of volleyball on the beach. We got a badminton set from the Sports Direct because we couldn't get a volleyball net, and Joe smashed us all. And then it turns out. He was on the high school volleyball team. So that's the type of he's done a lot of things that and he doesn't tell you.
A bit of a hustler, Joseph Parker. Yeah. You've worked with him now. This is your 3rd fight. Of course, nature of kind of COVID and heavyweight boxing means you haven't had 5, 6 fights in the period of time you've been working together. But if you can you tell me the difference between the Joseph Parker who first walked through the doors in Morecambe Bay and the Joseph Parker we're going to see on Saturday night?
I think he has more focus and more direction. As a boxer, he's improved, and I've mentioned it so many times on the long breaks and lapses in concentration, but he's improved on that big time. He's better all-round fighter now, and he never trained. He said before like he'd never trained. Even his fight week before, he'd be trying to cut weight and lose weight, and still training 3 or 4 times a day, never tapering, and I don't know. But he doesn't know. He didn't know what it was to train properly and train hard, and also to recover when it's time. So he's much improved. I think so, and I think everyone can see that.
We're at the press conference yesterday. Team Joyce, Ismail Salas, Adam Morley. I think they took umbrage to an interview that we did where you mentioned that this could be an easy fight for Joseph Parker. Yeah, just clarify those comments and kind of give us an insight into what you mean by them.
Well, I said it at the press conference as well. I replied to them, and not one of them argued with me or objected to what I was saying. Any fight can be easy, made easy. We know as styles make fights, and the style you choose to fight in and the tactics you use, you can make a fight easy. What seems like a difficult fight can be made an easy fight. And if Joe does what he's supposed to do, he can make an easy night. Saying that, Joyce is big and strong, and we know he's unrelenting and good engine, but that he's not saying like, wow, he's quick hand speed, or he's got super fast feet, or he's ring generalship, or his IQ, or his knockout power. He's just saying, we're just talking about attributes that are basic stuff, and as I said, Parker out if you measured them attribute for attribute, Parker's way ahead of him.
Joe said that he has no excuses going into this. He's never had a training camp like this. There's no excuses on fight night. With that being said, does that put the pressure on him on Saturday night, tomorrow night, if he were to lose with kind of, in his own words, no excuses?
No, you don't want to have any niggles or doubts in the back of your mind. He literally has not had a bad day in training. He's prepared right. We've had Anthony Presley preparing the food for Joe, and he's had Christian Black doing his strength and conditioning. He's had the best of sparring partners: Martin Bacoli, the Ice Bear, Nick Campbell. We've had Tyson Fury giving him tips, egging him on, running with him, training, motivating him. He's had his brother here. He's had Paddy Donovan here, all supporting him and training partners. I don't think you can get, like, he's had Tyson's house gym and everything else reset in Lancaster. He's been using that for his massages and his floats. So like he's had a fantastic camp. There's not been any issues, and so we've left no stone unturned, and all he has to do is fight now.
The general consensus, among other things, among it being a 50-50 fight, but also it's a fight of two halves where people expect Joe to have the speed advantage early in the fight and to have a lot of success, whereas Joe Joyce, as we know, relentless work rate and stamina, good chin in the second half of the fight. Is that how you see the fight?
It could go that way, yeah. But Parker's a 12-round fighter, and we obviously know this is the way to fight. People think the fight would be planning, and they're banking on Joseph Parker getting tired. So we've worked on that. We've worked on it. We've been doing long rounds in the gym. He's doing 10 rounds, 12 rounds of sparring regularly. So that's all we can do. That's all we can do, isn't it? Power endurance on the bag, leg circuits, arm circuits. He's done it all. So he's got the engine. He's done it many times gone in 12-round fights. So yeah.
The word that kind of follows Joe Joyce around, obviously being the juggernaut, this kind of immovable object, this irresistible force, can't be hurt, great iron chin. I'm sure you have different plans of that coming into Saturday night.
Yeah, he's got an iron chin, but I and I've said it before, I've seen him hurt a few times, to the body, to the head as well. He was knocked out as an amateur by Sergei Kuzim, so with big gloves and headgears on. And that was a long time ago. But yeah, this is different. As I said, it's a different level. He's anyone can be knocked out. Even the best chins in the world get knocked out sometimes.
You mentioned Tyson there. How important is it? I mean, Joe spoke about Tyson since he was in Vegas and long before you worked together, or he moved and relocated over to Morecambe Bay. But having him side by side in camp must have been such a boost for him throughout.
Yeah, and Tyson sparred Joyce a lot, and given me and Joe some insight into that. And yeah, Tyson's very confident that Parker will win, and I hold Tyson's opinion very highly.
We've yet to see Tyson this week. The Tyson Fury Roadshow has yet to hit Manchester for Joyce Parker fight week. Are we expecting him in attendance tomorrow night?
I think he's come to the fight. Yeah, it's just tough for him to go anywhere, especially in a boxing environment or anywhere, because he gets mobbed with people, and it's pretty hard for him. But he'll be here tomorrow, I think. Yeah.
Spoke to his brother Shane yesterday. He said that he doesn't expect the Anthony Joshua fight to happen in December, although he said that he fully expects Tyson to box at some point in December. What do you make of that?
Well, I just see on Instagram today that they're going back and forth again, but Tyson's offered the fight to Usyk. Doesn't want it.
I didn't like the expression Andy Lee pulled just then. I'm a bit worried we're not going to get Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, I can feel it in my bones.
Take the fight till next year. He's
out
out to fight Joshua.
Freezed.
Whether he takes the fight or not, it's still wait to be seen. But if he doesn't,
buffing my
then what more can
minions
the
now.
man do? What more can the man do? So he's entitled to fight whoever he wants. He is still the heavyweight champion of the world, a massive draw, global superstar. He can fight Joe Soap and sell out.
The name Manuel Char has been thrown around as a potential opponent for Tyson Fury. A lot of people, myself included, really don't see that as a very competitive fight. What do you make of Manuel Char as a potential opponent in December?
Yeah, I don't know much about him, but he's got a good record. He's a good name, former world title holder. There's a lot worse fights that can be made out there. Who else is out there? There's nobody else out there. Chisora priced himself out, and people, I don't know if people had an appetite for that as much as Char. There's nobody else out there for him to fight. Who? Give me a name who he can fight.
It's difficult. It is difficult.
Hey,
I want to see the Alexander Usyk fight for the undisputed.
Yes, yeah, but that'll still happen whenever Usyk gets ready.
Which fight would you prefer him to take, the Joshua fight or the Usyk fight?
Fight them both. Fight Joshua now and then fight Usyk, if that's what Usyk wants to do. If he's not going to be ready for December, if Usyk's ready, he can fight. He's not going to be ready now, is he? What he's saying in his family time in Ukraine and stuff, which is fair enough. But don't get your feathers ruffled when Tyson's not going to wait around for you. He's going to go fight somebody else. Or
Tyson's not going to wait for you. It's a bit silly, because the whole point is that apparently Tyson's made the offer to Joshua. Joshua's accepted it. They're just trying to get the ducks in a row. And from Tyson's side, they've sent a contract and Joshua's just got to sign it. So who's waiting for who here? I mean, the thing is that Joshua is not going to sign a rubbish contract, is he? The contract's got to be right. And Fury could duck him and dodge him by saying, "Oh, I asked to fight him, but he wouldn't fight me." And I don't know, it's the wrong time for Joshua, but I still think he'd make the mistake of actually going for it and biting. He hasn't. It's hard to know who's ducking who, but I get the feeling it's not going to happen. They keep talking this way.
It's been a while since he's fought, April, so he wants to stay active.
I said to Shane yesterday, and I'll put the same question to you, Anthony Joshua on the back of 2 losses to Alexander Usyk. We saw kind of what happened in the ring afterwards as well, a very public kind of meltdown is the word that's been thrown around. Do you feel like if you were to box Anthony Joshua, you'd be necessarily getting the best version of him if you were to fight him in December?
Who knows? He could be at his most dangerous. Nothing to lose and everything to gain. No pressure on him. Might have some sort of freedom in that. So yeah, like the aim of the game is to win titles, to make money. He's done well for that, Anthony Joshua, but this is the direct route back. He could fight 3 or 4 heavyweights, and remember that anyone could knock him out, or he could get beaten, or in the run up to try and get back to that top level to fight Tyson, building himself back up. Why not go a direct route straight away? Fight for the title. They're gonna make more money than they can imagine. The 2 of them. There it is.
Final one on Tyson. You mentioned there Alexander Usyk's feathers being ruffled. He did an interview yesterday on Ukrainian TV. I think it was the first time that he's spoken since the Anthony Joshua rematch. He said that Tyson Fury's scared of him. Said he's scared to fight him. He doesn't want to fight him. I mean, you know Tyson better than anybody. What do you think your thoughts are on that, and what do you think the big man thinks of those comments?
I don't think anyone believes that, did they? I don't know. I don't. Tyson's not scared of it. I'm not scared of him or anybody. I don't think so. I don't know. It's good. It's funny. It's good to be back and forth at least, anyway, isn't it?
It's certainly good to see them talking. I really want to see that fight. That's the fight that I really want to see. I think stylistically, very interesting fight.
Yeah.
So hopefully we see that sometime in the future. But enough about Tyson Fury, and let's final question on the show tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Of course, Joe Joyce versus Joseph Parker, your man. How does it end, Andy? We're all waiting to see the big men go in there tomorrow night. Which Joe will emerge victorious?
The truth is that no one knows how this fight will end. Or no one knows how any big fight will end. When they're this closely matched and their styles are so separate, so opposite to each other, it could come down to some very small things that will separate the 2 of them. I'm confident in Joseph. I believe he'll win. I believe I've trained him with the right tactics, the right techniques, and if he can do that, I believe he'll win. If he can employ those tactics, he'll win.
Well, good morning out there, wherever you are. You're joining me in my daily routine, which is...
Joyce
both of those
is a big man.
Both of those shots I just did then hit face. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things to hit. 1 in 5 each time. Both hit face. Could have done with it hitting anywhere else except face. Getting the bad luck again. When I'm on stream, I get shit luck.
And he's got a great coach in Ismail Salas. They'll have their own plan. And so whoever can perform on the night will win. It's a massive fight, and that's what makes it exciting. No one knows what's going to happen. And we're all just about to wait and watch and witness it.
You mentioned Salas there just before I let you go. Obviously, as somebody who's vastly experienced in both the amateur and the professional game, you're still relatively inexperienced as a professional coach. Do you look at that as not putting it quite as Lee versus Salas, but are you looking forward to pitting your wits against one of the grandmasters of training?
Yeah, I like that. It's a challenge for me. Like in my short career, I've faced Buddy McGirt, Dave Colwell, and some other great trainers with my other fighters. But it's nice to go up against like Buddy McGirt's a Hall of Famer. Ismail Salas probably be a Hall of Famer too. And nice to go up against these guys as the underdog as well.
And final question from me, David Higgins. He's always worth a bit of value at a press conference, should we say? One of his, I think he had 3 concerns or 3 points. One of them was around the judging for this fight. It's a Queensbury show. It's a Frank Warren show. Been around the block, Andy. Do you have any reservations or any concerns?
What are you saying?
I'm asking if you have any concerns around the judging for the fight.
No, I don't actually, because we've done our work with the judges, picking the panel. Phil Edwards is a great judge. Steve Gray's a very good referee, one of the best. Patrick Morley from Chicago, I've been told, I don't know him, but I've been told he's a straight shooter. He calls it like he sees it. That's all we want, fair shake. Then there's an Australian judge coming over, and I've had...
What else are we watching? Weigh-in? No.
All in due time.
Back to boxing shit. Used to be good, now banter shit's all. Boxing Social, let's see what's going on.
This is Charlie Parsons for Boxing
Charlie,
Social Association
the
with
wanker
Betfred.
Parsons.
After chatting for a little while, people mentioning courgettes and words that boxers can't pronounce, I'm sat down with you. Barry, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Yeah, I've been sat with Darren Barker and having a good little chin wag, and so looking forward to tomorrow's action.
Well, let's talk a little bit about tomorrow's action. Obviously, it wasn't as planned, this show, obviously, with Lee Wood being having to pull out of the fight, but Eddie kept the card on, nevertheless, and we've got a good fight between Maxi Hughes and Kid Galahad. Just first things first, just your reaction, because I've seen a little bit of the feedback on Twitter. I know Kid Galahad's moving up weight here, but people saying that perhaps still looking a little bit drained on the scales?
Yeah, he did, didn't he? I thought, I'm sure he's in tremendous shape, but I thought he would look a little bit healthier than he did. He was a big guy, and you tend to think, how did he make featherweight? That's what you're doing. You look at him now and you see that he looks a bit drained at lightweight. You think, how did he make 9 stone? But I'm sure, especially in the Ingle gym, they've been training fighters for decades. So I'm sure they'll get it right, and come tomorrow night, he'll be fit and healthy and ready to go.
Can you understand the move up to 135? Because I spoke to Lee Selby and he spoke to me about his reasoning from 126 to 135 also, because those £4 he literally said were pointless. He said you may as well do the £9 up to 135. Do you get that?
Yeah, no, I do. As a small man, I totally understand that situation. I just think it's different horses for course, isn't it? I think that's, some fighters will think that £4 enough breathing space for them, but if you've been really struggling for years, and with age as well, you thicken out a little bit, and it's £9, and that gives you, a better training camp. You still have to make weight because you're still coming down from a weight, but I mean you'll be able to train harder for longer. Yeah.
And then just on to the co-main event, obviously Hannah Rankin looks to defend her titles against Terry Harper, who makes a massive step up in weight. She weighed in at 152, I believe. Hannah Rankin coming in 153 something, I think. So both within the limit. We see the female fighters do it. Obviously Tasha Jonas went up and did it. Do you think a good move for Terry? It also allows her to fluctuate and go back down a little bit if she picks up a win, but Hannah Rankin is a true fighter at that weight. Terry not so much. She'll be able to go back down. She said maybe a push at 135, but she can defo go down back to 140 or 147. So too much or okay?
We'll find out tomorrow, I guess, for that. But I think the reason that and only in women's boxing can you do it, is because there's maybe not strength in depth. And also some of the champions are also tied up, so they have to go looking for other opportunities. And maybe she sees Hannah as a weaker link. I don't know. I think that would be a mistake. I think Hannah Rankin has been a massively improved fighter over the last couple of years. So I think it's an intriguing fight, isn't it? Because Terry looked fantastic as a super featherweight up until the Baumgartner fight. She looked absolutely fantastic. And Hannah is Hannah Rankin is on a real fantastic run. So you have to make Rankin the favourite because she's the champion and she's the naturally bigger woman. Of course, she's boxed at super middleweight before. So you tend to think that she's the bigger person. So she's gonna have more advantages than Terry Harper. But also, probably would say Terry Harper is the more compact of the two in their styles. So I think Hannah Rankin gives you opportunities to catch her with, and so it's intriguing But I think you have to favour ranking for the size alone.
And then
it's really good just to hear women's excuse me to hear women's boxing just talked about in the same breath now. It's just part of the same bill. It's just one of those things. Women's boxing's boxing now. It's good.
Actually, moving on away from this week, Eddie I spoke to again today about Fury, AJ, what's going on there. I think Shane Fury said yesterday, I don't know, I haven't seen the interview myself, but from all the quotes I'm reading, and they may be taken out of advantage, but it looks like they may be looking at Char now. I know George Warren is still fairly confident on negotiations and contract and broadcasting and everything that has to be done for that fight. Do we see it December 3rd, gut feeling?
No, gut feeling, no. But, I've been in boxing long enough now to be pessimistic about any big fight being made. I just don't see it. I just don't. I think, there's so much to organise in a short space of time for a fight of this magnitude, for the financial implications for everyone. And the biggest stumbling block has to be the broadcasters. And everyone's saying the same thing, but it's true. And also, I don't think it's a great move for Joshua. I think he needs to get a win to build that confidence again, like he did after the Ruiz fight. And cause that fight's always going to be there for him, isn't it? That's the truth.
Do you believe that, to an extent, if Joshua doesn't take the fight here, there'll be no other opportunity? That's what some people have been saying. That do you believe that if the fight doesn't happen here, that 1, 2, 3 years, there's still maybe a chance for Joshua to fight Tyson Fury?
Yeah, I think that fight's as long as they're still both active in the sport, then that fight's always there. It's financially the biggest fight out there for either one. Even if they don't end up being, Joshua's not the best, not the second best, maybe not even the third best now in the world. Who knows? That's down to interpretation, but still. And Fury's clearly for me
weird,
number one, and it's for almost everybody. So that's for the first time in a long time. That's been we've always had our opinions, but it's been a clear cut now that Joshua's moved away from that those the two front runners. But financially, he's still a huge draw, still a big star. So it's always going to be a big money fight. It's always going to be there for him. That's why he should take a couple of fights and get warmed up.
Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. We're closer and closer. Undercard was announced yesterday. Obviously, a fight. I suppose people are deeming it the trilogy. Conor comes up in weight. They go down to a catch weight. Obviously, Eubank's made a lot about the 60% sort of stuff. What do you make of it all? And is the weight depletion for Eubank too much?
It might be. Let's not forget though, when Chris Eubank boxed Liam Williams at middleweight, he weighed in with a pair of jeans and trainers and a watch bigger than me. So him making 160 is never. I don't think it's an issue. He's boxed at super middleweight, but he was never a super middleweight. And so he can make middleweight comfortable. So I think him coming down to 157, that's what they're talking about, which should be £3 below the middleweight limit. I don't think that's going to be an issue for him. Now, the rehydration clause might be a problem because if you got to weigh in, usually the rehydration clauses are usually like 8 o'clock in the morning. This is going to be more like 11ish, close to midday. That might be a problem. But he's still a bigger guy with more experience. He has a fantastic chin, has his dad's chin, so he has to be a favourite. But Conor Benn has that intangible thing of that will to win, that determination. He's an angry man, but he uses it to his advantage. He's not an angry man who gets wild and makes mistakes. He focuses that anger and becomes a better fighter when he is annoyed. So I think that you can't get the Eubank and Benn names. You can't get two better fits. Not just historically for British boxing, but I mean just personality-wise. Eubank winds at Benn like the Eubank Senior one with a Benn Senior. It's the same with these two youngsters, but Benn angry is a more dangerous animal, so it doesn't hinder him. It helps him.
What is Ben's got a sort of path to victory? I say, is it sort of bruting out the first couple of rounds and coming in with those big sort of overhand looping hooks?
I think he has to fight at a high pace. I do. Being the smaller guy, you got to be buzzing around him. You got to try and hurt him. You got to make him feel the pace if you can. I think Eubank has always boxed at a tremendous pace, but it's at his pace. And also, recently, he's been with Roy Jones in his corner. He's slowed down a little bit. He's picking his shots a little bit more, so the punch output's not there like it used to be. So for me, Benn has to be very busy and has to try and hurt him. Maybe the body shots might come into play, but moving around that target when you're close for Benn will be important. Not allow Eubank to use that physical size to hold him or push him back. And certainly, don't let Eubank push you back. But it's a hard ask.
We've lost this game.
Need a bit more spice over here. I need more study.
Oh dear.
Wait!
My dude, what the fuck? What the fuck?
I was watching this a little bit ago.
Accidentally posted on their fucking insider leak account on their main public account. So this is not a person who has... There's not a lot of horsepower here, okay?
Insider became increasingly popular following a leak that revealed all of the Assassin's Creed titles. The real Insider is no longer a Twitter account that you can access, but using Wayback Machine, you can actually take a look at some of the most recent tweets. On September 6th, the real Insider...
See, like, I mean, look at this piece of shit, man. Like, he's coming in 2023, no release date just yet. Yeah, like, he's not releasing anything that's for the best interest or the good of the public. He's not saying, oh, well, they're trying to fucking, like, add in NFTs to this game or something like that, or they're trying to, you know, make it pay to win. No, bro, he's just fucking, like, just posting shit for likes. Just wants to be
take
cool,
a look at some of the most recent tweets. On September 6th, the real Insider tweeted the titles of upcoming Assassin's Creed projects correctly before they were announced by Ubisoft through their stream. Assassin's Creed Valhalla DLC, Assassin's Creed Codename Red, Assassin's Creed Codename J.
And the guy goes and he's co-opting their hashtag to get more interactions on this account. Likes are worth nothing.
Assassin's Creed Codename Hex, and finally Assassin's Creed Mirage. We know now, of course, that these leaks proved to be 100% accurate, and I believe the way he got a hold of this information is through an invitation that Ubisoft sent out to various media outlets and content creators. I actually got this invitation to essentially watch a preview of what they'll show at the Ubisoft stream.
This happened at Blizzard, and somebody leaked the Blizzard one too. The one that got leaked at Blizzard was the Thrall cinematic, where Sarfang goes to Nagrand to get Thrall, and then the assassins try to attack them. Like that's so. Like, this happened at Blizzard too. I really hate how people leak shit. It makes me so annoyed, because it makes these companies less likely to tell other people stuff. And like, I want to know what's going to happen, what's going to be going on. Like, why leak? I don't understand it. Like, I'll tell you, like, I was one of the only people, like, at Blizzard, not at Blizzard, right? Whenever I went to BlizzCon. So they told me about Classic WoW before it got announced, and they said we were the first people outside of the company that were supposed to know about it. Bro, I never even signed an NDA. Because I never checked my email, right? But
this video is all about someone's been leaking game news, but they signed NDAs so they could get the information early, and then they leaked it like an idiot. Like, why would you sign a contract and then break the contract in public? It seems like a stupid thing to do.
But I never said a fucking word. I didn't tell anybody anything. Because if I do that, then they're not going to fucking invite me back again. They're not going to tell me anything about the next one. Why do companies tell content creators this info? Well, the reason why they told us that info is because we were going to do Allcraft at BlizzCon. They had paid us to do Allcraft at BlizzCon, and we had to know the information because the Allcraft was only going to be like an hour after the announcement. So they had to tell us a little bit ahead of time so we could structure the show. So that's why, like, they had to do it.
I know what you need.
And I couldn't attend. I was just not available for when that was going to take place. So I didn't attend that. But it seems likely that Dan Allen got the invitation.
Yeah. That's what it is, bro. Like, it makes him feel important. That's, I hate even thinking that, but I know you're right.
Tuned in, took notes on all of that information, and then, decided to break NDA, decided to break the trust that the developers placed on him by inviting him to this preview event that was confidential. Also relevant are some of these tweets down here, like Silent Hill and Metal Gear Solid Remake, and David Hayter knows that seemed to hint that he knew something about an upcoming Silent Hill project or an upcoming Metal Gear Solid Remake project. This will become more relevant later in the...
Yeah, it's like this guy is acting like he's anonymous, exposing fucking Jeffrey Epstein. No, you're not, you fucking loser. You're just sitting around telling people when the release date of video games is going to be. You're not a spy. You're not a espionage agent. It's so annoying. This secret agent.
Video, but scrolling back up, you'll find tweets like this one, codename Red, with a partial image of art of Assassin's Creed Red, which we now know takes place in Japan, which is exactly what the real insider was hinting at here.
This one's going to be counterspell to ruin my day. No? Ixnay on the counterspell, no.
And as we keep scrolling up, you can see that, the real insider continued to leak stuff and continued to break NDA.
Yeah, and again, I want to draw attention to the fact that none of these things are for the good of the public. None of these things are like exposing something bad that's going on or anything like that. It's all just clout chasing.
And kind of started stuff with media outlets and whatnot, with Jason Schreier, for example, who believed that the Assassin's Creed leaks that the real insider leaked were fake before he realized, wait, you're right.
I just need to survive like 2 more turns. That's a good start. Next turn I don't have anything. And then the next turn after that I want to play the Colossus. And then the next turn after that we start with the N'Zoth. Shadow stepping it. Copying it. And we should be fine.
And he wants to, like think that he's smarter than Jason Schreier. Like, it's so, like, never forget, like, wow, never forget the fact that you broke NDA. Yeah, wow, somebody didn't believe something with no evidence. I can't believe it. He thinks he's that guy.
Through the grapevine that the leak might be real. But even when Jason apologized and admitted he was wrong about this one and corrected himself, the real insider decided to make a whole song and dance about this and tweeted, "Never forget."
Of course he did, because it fucking makes him feel important and smart.
Kind of started provoking media outlets and journalists, and that would come to bite him in the butt. That I'll get to in a bit as well. He leaked the fact that media outlets and content creators were invited to a hands-on event for Forspoken, which did indeed happen. I was invited myself, and I shared my impressions on the game. So on and so forth, just continued on this streak. He pretended to know God of War information by tweeting Kratos with a smile as if he had insider knowledge about an upcoming state of play, so on and so forth. So yeah, this is
it's just like, look at this, bro. Like, this is straight up fucking 2010 anonymous levels, but they're not fighting to like actually, expose some sort of government corruption. They're not trying to help the public know what the people in power don't want them to. This is just like, it's just this loser that's telling people whenever a game is gonna come out.
This fucking game.
It's just sad.
Can't win
it's
a game
just
on
fucking
stream.
sad. Yeah. Imagine the power trip this guy was on.
Kind of the Twitter setup he went for with this enigmatic Twitter account that would serve as the match that would lead to his undoing. Dan Allen Gaming eventually realized that the jig was up. There was no way he could slip out of this one.
Maybe it's because I'm tired. She's right here. And I'm fucking pressing the wrong things now.
Well, good morning out there, wherever you are. You're joining me in my daily routine.
Shut up, you idiot. You rented a place for the pool for the day to record your video.
This is Rob Turbot for ID Boxing. Delighted as always to be joined by the former cruiserweight and heavyweight champion of the world, David Haye. We're here in Manchester ahead of Joyce Parker. How are you, David? Been a while?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm really good. Yeah, we're looking forward to this showdown. Two nice guys who have mean intentions. I'm looking forward to it.
Mean intentions indeed. I remember once upon a time where you were Joe Joyce's promoter. I remember coming down to the gym in Vauxhall, him and Salas. Obviously, he's kind of gone full circle and ended up with Salas now. What have you made of Joe Joyce's career up to this point?
It kind of went stagnated in the middle, but whatever he's done, and now he finds himself in a position where he's got a fight that matters. He's got an opponent, Josie Parker, who's bringing a wealth of experience, a former world champion himself. He's got 2 defeats on his record, no disgrace in either of those. He gave a good account of himself both times. So he's by far the best opponent that Joyce has fought before, and he's a bit on a big It's on a Sky. It's a BT box office show. It's big. It's sexy. It's at the Manchester Arena. It's what he needs right now. He's just turned 37 years old, so it's time for these types of big fights to happen, and he's here. He's found himself. It's taken him a little while to get here, but he's here.
I'm not. The fight's on Saturday, and we were talking Gotten earlier, weren't we? Look, he's written it in chat. He's Gotten here after Scott got tilted and quit Hearthstone. Yeah, I have got tilted and quit Hearthstone already. You know what? Yesterday I played Hearthstone a little bit off stream, and I put together 2 really shit decks. When I say shit decks, I mean shit decks. I hope everyone watching this realises it's like 3 o'clock in the morning in the UK, and it's 2:40. It's like 3 o'clock and I'm tired. I'm eggy. But yeah, put together 2 shit decks just because I had some quests on the thing. They wanted me to do some stuff with Demon Hunter and Skeletons, so I put them together, and I couldn't lose a game. Just fucking throwing out attack, smash you in the face. Oh look, you've won. Oh, you've won again. Oh, isn't it easy, old Hearthstone? You've won again. And then come on stream tonight. Again, play Hearthstone. Can't see a 1-drop. Can't win a game. Just feels like it wants me to have a bad time on stream Hearthstone. I keep saying we'll get a new game. I'm busy with stuff at the moment, but I do need a better evening chill out game that doesn't make, because the whole point in chilling out with a little game like that is to just relax myself, relax my brain. Listen to some boxing talking, interviews, chill, bedtime. It fucking makes me cross and it winds me up.
Let's see where it goes.
I know you've had Joseph Parker in the gym years ago as well with Kevin Barry. I mean, the general consensus is it's kind of going to be a fight of 2 halves. Joseph Parker's speed in the early rounds and Joe Joyce's relentlessness and his stamina in the second half of the fight. Do you agree with that?
Not really. I think the damage that is done in the first 6 rounds is going to be very important moving into the final 6 rounds. There's only so much, although Joyce has a tremendous chin, there's only so much punishment a human being can take, and Parker has great hand speed, punch variety. He's got a very educated jab. It's seen him through a lot of his fights. Just
David Haye picking Parker, is he a bit miffed because Joe Joyce did used to be part of his promotional, like Haye was promoting Joyce, and he has since left that partnership. Has he been a bit eggy?
It's his jab alone, so I don't think it's going to be like it's a stand toe-to-toe slugfest. I think there's going to be some skills in there, some boxing ability, and Joyce also has good boxing ability. You don't win a Olympic silver medal, a contested silver medal. A lot of people believe he got a gold if you don't have boxing ability. He's he doesn't appear to be the fastest heavyweight on the planet, but his relentlessness makes up for that. So I definitely think whatever happens in the first 6 rounds, I don't see Parker being stupid enough to punch himself out in the first 6 rounds and run out of steam and Joyce grind him down in the second part. I don't really see it happening that way. I think there's an opportunity both fighters can score a stoppage. I think the way that Joyce does it is literally find a way to absorb the punishment, get close, and just try to just chip away at the body and the head, and look to try to do as much damage as he can.
I disagree,
in
David.
hopes that the body of Parker is just going to break down.
No.
And I can see that happening. There's a version that...
No. That's wrong, David, isn't it? That's wrong. Joe Joyce, you know, that could happen, but Joe Joyce, who did he fight recently? It was Christian Hammer, wasn't it? You know, Christian Hammer's not a good test necessarily, but smashed him to bits, didn't he?
The world of sport is
picked up a proper knockout. Fucking adverts. Joe Joyce in white trunks.
All but one of his opponents as a professional. He's
Christian Hammer came into this like woefully underprepared, not had a big training camp or anything. It didn't look like, he just, you know, looked chubby and not really interested. But
Ortiz, bags of experience, he's been around the block, but whether he can...
Joe has what seems to be a bit of an awkward style, and he did catch a few shots in this. Like, he caught one then, wasn't trying to be evasive, but later on in the fight, like, he just gets going, and it's not round 6 or anything. This is round 3, and like, he's smashing him, like, big shots. So Joe Joyce can look for a knockout, like, with one clean shot. Like, he can catch you and put you down. Just then he was leaning on to test the resistance of his opponent. His opponent's gone down there. That wasn't necessarily to attrition. That was to a nice clean shot to the body. You know, clean shots doing damage. No, he's a big lump. He can hit you. So I don't see it as just being an attritional thing that, you know, you look, again, bang, knee. He had to go down. He's body shots there, but... and then we've got Joe Joyce. Was it Takam? Let's just put Joyce knockouts. Just have a look at his knockouts, because he has got this knockout ability. It's not just power, it's technique. It's going to look better against the easier fighters earlier in his career.
Fight against Dillian White last October, had his nose broken, his eyes were swollen.
And Joyce potentially, was it cruiserweight, or was there a middle ground between cruiserweight and heavyweight? He fought in this like semi-pro league thing before he turned full pro. He was a bit more of an amateur boxer, and he came through that way with Usyk, and I think he fought Usyk as well during that time.
But he still had his moments, even though the fight appeared to be beyond him. That's the position.
Boom, look. That was a one-shot knockout. It's not against top opposition, but Joe is mobile, agile, and he might look clumsy, but he's actually quite the technician in a way.
He had his nose broken, his eyes were swollen.
He's an intelligent person. He's got a degree in art. Nice shot. Like, the degree in art means nothing in the boxing ring, maybe, but he can think of a more interesting answer to the question. Like, that was an uppercut that came through. So that, boom.
Standing shape, you look good on the scales. This is really not.
Look at those shots going in. Look.
He's beginning to wilt after taking a hard left hand. He's lost control of his legs, and this could be
the towels coming now. I'm looking for you. Hit him once, and the fella goes on the floor. No, you got to be able to connect in the right place at the right moment, haven't you? Boom, top of the head, boom, clarted him down. And that was not just switch you out, knockout, that was just clubbing power, I think.
And it's a first round stoppage for
Boom.
Joyce, who was relentless from the opening bell right up until the conclusion.
Protect yourselves at all times. Obey my
Producer, really smooth, slick, powerful performance to finish off the evening. Richie.
I only got 4 ads in a row because I kept reloading it because I hated the adverts. I reloaded them.
I know feels that he can be vulnerable early, looks for a right to the body straight away, and Joe Joyce imposing himself on Donny Palmer.
I mean, these aren't top names, but they're big fellas who can, you know, maybe take a bit of punishment.
We know how important it is.
Boom. That's the one.
We know how important
1-2 with a nice, like what's so clever about it is it looks so relaxed. It's a 1-2 and the 2 isn't necessarily straight down the pipe. It's got a bit of leverage to it. It's almost like a straight hook in a way.
Himself on Donny Palmer.
And he's agile and he's moving. I think this fight with Joe Parker is going to create two. I think it's going to be a real boxing match. I think they're both going to be on their toes a bit, doing the, you know, Joyce is going to have to do a bit more head movement. Parker's going to be like that. I think there's going to be a bit of a boxing match, and when it is like that, when it's technical like that, sometimes it can be a bit stale and dry for a bit. You know, you don't see much action maybe, or sometimes it can be like an interlocking puzzle, and they both work things out and start getting the shots in. It can really be good, and then it can just open up into a firefight. I just want to look at this frame by frame. Look. So the jab is there to distract, obviously. You know, he knows what he's doing. He's about to line up the 1-2. But it's still a shot, you know, it's still a real shot. But it comes up into the eyes to blind and distract and straight over the top. But look, you see how it's coming from the shoulder? See his shoulders coming round. A straight can be straight through, can't it? Like 1, 2. Obviously your shoulder is going to move. But you get that power generated by the swivel of the hips and the bringing the shoulder into the shot like that, like a big wide arcing wallop of a hook. So this is like a cross between the, and he generates that power, crashes it in. See his arms bent, so it's like a hook, isn't it? But it's a 1-2, more straight. It looks awkward in a way, slightly unconventional, the way he lifts his hand up to pour down with the jab like that. Right. Where he's bringing the hand up and down with the jab, up and then down in with the jab, and over the top you would normally see that shot coming in. Maybe it's because they're such close range, but yeah, all the core strength is going into it. You can see that, you're right, all the twist of the body, boom, and it's clattered him right at the top of the head over the ear where it scrambles your brain when you get hit there. So the jab's there to distract and blind. He's preparing this shot, he's winding it up, and it's coming through the whole body, all the shoulder, clot. So it's like a hook, isn't it, in a way? You might call that a hook. I just think a hook would be, like there'd be a slight, I think it's in the middle somewhere of a hook and a straight, isn't it? You'd expect a straight 1-2. 1-2 with a hook. Jab hook. Maybe it's a bit of a close range hook. I don't know, whatever you'd call it. It's a chopping shot as well. See how it comes up, and when he's punching down. Sort of down and through. Down there. Chopping shot. So the actions, like all the intelligence that Joe Joyce has worked on the heavy bag over and over to muscle memory. It's a very clever shot, that is. There's a lot of technique involved, isn't there? From the jab, the hips, the shoulder, the chopping it down, all that leverage. It looks very relaxed when he throws it, but all of those things come together, as well as he's coming from he's a taller fella. That's him on his toes there, up high. He's crouching right down into this pocket, keeping his legs bent. Once he's gone down into the pocket there with his legs bent, he's not springing back up again yet, is he? He's putting it all into the shot. So there's legs as well. So it's a very smart, educated bit of boxing there. Very smart guy. And the result is maximum power, maximum leverage. Oosh. And it looks very, it looks very slow almost. They say about Joe Joyce is that he looks slow. They call him the juggernaut, but they say that he looks slow and that he, builds up speed, not speed, but keeps juggernauting his way through all the rounds. So, but I say not necessarily slow, but relaxed. Like you don't have to be all if you're all bunched up and tense, you're pulling together and you're not actually releasing all that strength. So it's almost very relaxed, his style. Boosh, you're gone. Now that put him down. His legs have gone wobbles. His legs have gone wobbles. He's off. It's a big chuffer. Boosh, they're the ones you want. Highlight reel knockout. It's about range as well, distance and range, but you know, for a big man to be down there in the pocket executing those shots with another big man, I think it's good. This guy he's fighting here isn't big enough. He's pushed him over there really, and he doesn't want any of it. This guy, he's just not interested, so it don't count. You know, he's just smashing him, and the guy's just going to drop when he feels like he's been hit in the face because he's like, I ain't got anything. So this guy don't count. But again, someone too small. What's interesting is the smaller fighter maybe can be more elusive, harder to hit, smaller target. Big slow man, small fast guy. So, but it looks like a mismatch, this does. So when he does land on him, like, it's impossible for his opponent to take the punch because the weight of the guy coming behind it drops him with a mediocre chopping sort of hook. I don't know, it looked like he died. It looks like it was a dive. But Main Stavern is a real fighter. He's not a very good fighter, but he's a real fighter. Looks like he didn't have a very good camp.
Good right hand by Joyce. Oh, good left hook by Joyce. That could be a game changer.
What you're seeing here that's different from the previous fight is that those same clubbing, cuffing shots are not creating the knockout. They're doing damage, people don't like to be hit with them, but it's a bit more ponderous and clubbing, a bit like the old George Foreman. What it does is it builds up damage over time, doesn't it? It's like, you know, knocking bricks out of the wall. But what I was talking about, this knockout, this ability to chin someone and put them down, switch out your lights, it's about technique placed in the right point. Like this point on the jaw here, this point on the jaw here, this point on the temple here. You know, you put everything into, it's about focusing it into a small point, so that you can even do it with your hands and your knuckles, you know, so that more of your force goes through a smaller surface area. It's more damaging. If you hit it on the right point, nerves switch them off. There's a jolt of the head you can do. It's like breaking someone's neck. If you jolt their head, it actually, I don't think it snaps the spinal cord, of course, but it creates like a signal in the brain, like, fucking hell, shut down. Like, you can knock people out with technique more than power sometimes. Like, obviously he's got huge power, and this guy can take a bit of a clubbing, but I'm looking for those technique knockouts. It's harder when you're fighting someone like Main Stavern, who can tuck in his chin and cover up these points, but the technique there is to make him move his hands by hitting him to the body, or allowing him to move forward and try and hit you, and intercepting that motion with force of your own. It's about opening people up, but he's just going to club him, and there he goes. And just Main Stavern can't take any more clubbing, so that was that. Big chap. Hasn't got much technique, this chap. And Joe Joyce doesn't display much here, but catches him. I don't really know about this one. Again, it looks like he's on his way down maybe beforehand, but he actually does, like, catch him on the button. I don't like the head down style, you know, that he's doing here. He's avoiding a punch there, and he's got his head down, he's still trying to fight, but the other guy's actually holding his head down. That's what's happening there. See how he's got his arm around him, and he's pulling his head down. So that's a problem for Joe Joyce. And what you're supposed to do, I'm teaching you how to cheat in a fight now. What you're supposed to do is you hold their head down for a bit, and then they're going to push against it, aren't they? They're going to want to bring their head up, but you know when you're going to let them go. So you push it down, then you let them go, and they pull up all of a sudden. And in boxing or fighting, having your head upright like that, standing upright and leaning back, that's just an invite. So you pull them down, and as they spring up, you fucking cart them and they go down. that's also street fighting tech. That's why people pull your hood over, or if you're in a fight in the street, there are no rules, are there? So if you grab someone's jumper or their t-shirt and pull it over their head, they're at a disadvantage because their arms are all up like that in the t-shirt. And the same thing, you're pulling their head down, and they're going to fight against that. And the minute they fight against that, you'll slam. That's bad, but that's what's happening there on the screen. Look, and so what happens is that as he lets him up, his head pinks up, and this guy, what's he doing? He's supposed to be hitting him when his head pings up, but instead he's avoiding by leaning back. So that's not very good, because what you have to do now once you've leaned back is move forward. And again, I think Joe Joyce is a very smart guy, and he knows that this guy's moving forward into this shot, and that's the worst thing you can do. In fact, it's asking to be knocked out, and boom. Again, what was I saying about this point here on the jaw? Right on the button. Joe Joyce, you can see it again. He's got quite long levers of arms, and he's doing this thing with his body where the twist has come in, so when he hits, he's actually facing sideways and away from his opponent, and he's trying to draw the shot through. You've got to punch through the target. You're not trying to hit the jaw, you're trying to punch through that point to the other side of the head. And he nearly takes his head clean off, doesn't he? So, and it's difficult, isn't it? Because the guy was pulling your head down to start with, and he bang on the button. I mean, the guy makes it look easier because he's moving towards you. You don't want to move towards the punches. If anything, you want to move away from them. But Joe Joyce has this knockout capability. It's not just power, it's technique. You don't get that knockout if you don't hit him right on the button. Like, not at the same. People take dives. They decide they've had enough. But to be able to switch someone's lights out, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. There, it looks like he did. It looks like his legs did the dance. He can't. Yeah, he's wobbling around, isn't he? Yeah, he's got him. And look at Joe with the. He does this. Whoa! Doing a big leg flip. Big Joe Juggernaut Joyce. I actually quite like Joe Joyce. He's a smart guy. He doesn't come across that personable in interviews because he's a bit stunted in interviews. But he plays. He plays Destiny. He plays. He plays this game. It's an MMO. That's a tiny picture. He plays Destiny 2. It's an MMO, like first-person shooter MMO. He's into gaming, and he did an art degree, and he likes painting, and one of his pairs of shorts was pop art, which was really cool. Joe Joyce, pop art, Liechtenstein. Right, that's the pop art Liechtenstein, but where's the Joe Joyce shorts, you idiots? Obviously I put Joe Joyce in, didn't I? Joe Joyce shorts. No? Poor Joe Joyce. He wore a pair of shorts with this wham on it, and it's obviously a pop art thing, and they looked really fucking... It was probably the coolest pairs of shorts I've ever seen in a boxing ring. Yeah, now you're getting it, Joe Joyce pop art. They just didn't want you to actually put Liechtenstein. There it is. Like, he's owed to, like, he's like graffitied up his own shorts, different to other people's shorts. I thought they were cool. I thought they were cool shorts in the Triple D fight. So he's a bit of a thinking fighter, I reckon, Joe Joyce. The other person he's fighting is Parker, and we'll have a look at him in just a second.
Resilient he is, and obviously if you look at the fight with Dillian Whyte and Parker, Dillian was able to impose his physicality on Parker, and Parker wasn't able to use his slick boxing in that fight, but Dillian was able to get very close and really rough him up. Joe isn't that rough inside. He's rough on the outside in the middle range. So I can see a version of the fight going that way, and also I can see Parker putting a cluster of punches together that stuns Joyce on his feet. I'm not saying knocks him even down. All you need to do is stun some against the ropes, and them in their mind thinking I can take any punch, and then just get rattled with 5 or 6 shots, and a referee jumping in. So that's another version I can see happening. But
David Haye seems to be well against a Joe Joyce win here, doesn't he? Have a quick look at these, and then I'm going to get off. Joseph Parker knockouts. Parker's come up from cruiserweight. He's from New Zealand, and so he's a bit of a smaller guy. Look, in the black and red trunks here, and so he can hit, and he's got technique. But That's not that switch your lights out knockout, is it? Through his career, he gets bigger. And he fights bigger people. And again, you get these pinning against the rope moments and these attritional moments, and they go down. But he's not switched off. No lights out. His opponent here, not lights out. Look, catching the shots. You know, he's getting punched. He's gone down, but he's not lights out. Joe's a naturally smaller guy, Joe Parker. And so since this part of his career, he hasn't actually had knockouts, I think. He's gone the distance with most of his heavyweight fights. So you're looking at one man who, like, that's his, you know, lining up that shot and giving it some there. You're looking at one man who's got knockout power in one punch. That would have been a good shot. Yes, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. Is it lights out? Is that lights out? Looks like it, doesn't it? Yeah, that's lights out. So he got one there. This is now he's getting bigger, so there's more power in the shots, and he does manage to put this guy down. Right on the side of the head. Makes him do the wobbly legs dance. His eyes are open. He's just, you know, that's what David Haye was saying about being stunned on your feet. You know, that's a knockout, and he goes after him and finishes it. But I'm thinking that Joe Joyce has got the bigger, more impressive knockout reel. And that comes not just from the technique, but the natural size of the guy. I know Joseph Parker. Let's have a look at the weigh-ins. I know Parker is now. He's put on the weight. Let's just say that. I mean, he's probably on the steroids, isn't he? But let's see the size difference between the two of them. You know, it's not just sizes, it's how you use it. Joe's really filled out around the midriff now. He's looking a lot more like Tyson Fury. He's on whatever Tyson Fury eats.
£255. So what was it? 255.4. So he's gone up. He's gone up
4 pounds.
4 pounds on from his last fight. He looks big.
Yeah, and he's up for it as well. And he just threw you around and threw you around like a ragdoll. It's important to be strong.
And Joe Joyce doesn't look as like filled out. You know, it's not like he's been banging the steroids, pumping those muscles, but he's got muscles under that. It's because he's such a big, tall chuffer that he doesn't look as muscular. But there's probably like the same amount of muscle on him, if not more. It's just he's a big, taller chuffer, and it's a bit more spread out, I think.
Defeated former British, Commonwealth, European, and WBO International Heavyweight Champion.
Like, he looks a bit more slim, if anything, doesn't he? He looks a bit more like, for a heavyweight boxer, you'd expect maybe, you know, a bit more physique. But when you stood next to him, I'm sure you think, fucking hell, he's massive, because he's actually very tall. What did he weigh? 270. So you see what I mean? Like, he didn't look bigger than Joseph Parker in terms of body physique, but he's actually like 20 pounds, is it, bigger? Just by naturally, he's not even like piled anything on, like, you know, muscle or fat. Or like. Sometimes they try and bulk up for a fight. Certainly in heavyweight, you're allowed to be in whatever weight you want, and so you might want to be more agile and more slick and reduce your weight, but then you're going to be more susceptible to big heavy punches taking you out, and you're going to have less weight behind you to deliver big heavy punches. And sometimes it's better to be maybe a bit slower, carrying a bit more weight, but like I said, you know, delivering more in your shots and having a bit more resilience because of that. And Joe's big, isn't he? Yeah, he's big.
A little bit more noise there for Parker than Joyce, the home fighter.
That also goes through for leverage as well, and length and arms, you know, reach and stuff in boxing. Like, being a big tall chuffer does help in some ways.
Parker's got a lot of Team Fury back there.
Yeah, I think he'll have a lot of support tomorrow night though as well.
So let's see them face off.
Yeah, and have a fight and slug it out.
We know what Joyce is going to do, but
like if you put Tyson Fury's head on Joseph Parker, because Joseph Parker's been training with Fury for a while now, and I just wonder about these, you know, behind the scenes drugs they take and steroids and whatever. You know, if Team Fury got a particular concoction they're using, because somehow Joseph Parker has physically morphed into Tyson Fury, or is it just he's following the same routines and ideas? I don't know.
no idea.
A lot of people have an idea and they think, you know, Joyce is going to come forward and he'll wear Parker down. A lot of people are thinking this, but I think Parker's a bit more about him than that, and I think it's going to be a difficult fight for both guys.
There you go, stand next to each other then. So, not much. I mean, they're both big, tall chuffers. Like, they're both big chuffers, but Joyce looks like the smaller man, doesn't he? Like, maybe, but actually, when you actually look at it with your eyes properly, Joyce is much more defined. He's almost bodybuildery, almost, but like Parker has got bigger, and when he did this with his arms, there was a lot of muscle there, but his physique looks less gym physique, I guess. I don't know what you'd say, but for the guy on the left to be that much heavier, like, and for the guy on the right to come up to that weight, I think it's a lot more of a natural weight for Joseph Joyce on the left there. I think he's at a much more natural physical, like, I think he feels more comfortable in his own body at that weight, at that height, and doing this fight. You know, I think he's going to be able to move and do what he needs. I think Joseph Parker here is maybe trying to be more durable, maybe trying to be able to take a few body shots a bit more, but I think it's going to slow him down. He's not going to be his agile self, maybe. He just looks like a slightly different fighter. It's interesting. When the guy gets in the elevator, do you know we used to do that strongman filming? You know, I could talk about it sometimes, the strongman stuff. There was times when we were at an event, certainly at the Arnold's, there was a funny one, where it was like the strongest men in the world and me in a lift. And when I say the strongest men in the world, I mean Zydrunas Savickas, Brian Hall, Eddie Hall, like, you know, name any other, like, properly the big chuffers, Brian Shaw, and like, you know, me in a lift, I'd be like, fucking hell. And they would actually have to consider, like, can we get another one in because we might break the thing. Bit of psychology here. They're just playing up to the cameras, but Joe Joyce is holding his arm at length in front of him, and I've got a feeling that Joe Joyce is able to box Parker better at range. He's going to be able to deliver more effective shots, not just to keep him off him with the jab, but at range he's going to still be able to use his leverage in those long levers, those arms, and I think Parker's going to need to get near him, and I think the extra weight that Parker's carrying from his, you know, he's coming up in his heavyweight career, he's increasing his mass every few months or so, I mean, or whatever, but I think that's going to mean he's going to be less able to elusively get through the long jab. They all think that it might be Joseph Joyce eating a lot of punishment because he's a bit slow and takes a few shots, but he gets through in the end. I actually think it might be the other way around here, certainly on just, you know, judging on these physiques. You're looking at the weight limit when the big Samoan guys come in the lift. This is Joseph Parker. He's from that area of the world, and he has, you know, Joseph Parker has those Samoan roots, and when he fights, they come in with they have a guy walk in. Parker. Let's just watch them face each other, and I'll show you Joseph Parker's ring walk.
For the vacant WBO Interim Heavyweight Championship of the World.
Tell you something I don't approve of in boxing is them being allowed to have beards. I think there should be a minimum or a maximum limit on beard. For some people it's religious, I guess, but it's actually been proven, they've done science on it, that the cushioning effect of a beard, it actually cushions the blows. So, like, if you're a boxer, grow a big fat beard. If you're, you know, unless it gets ripped out when you get punched, I don't know, but it's actually a benefit to you as a boxer. So I don't think they should be allowed to have them because it's like cheating, isn't it? There you go. Look, you can see Joseph Joyce is not trying. The guy on the left is not trying to make himself any bigger or anything. He's just standing there, and he's looking like almost over the top of his opponent. Like, his eye line is just higher up, isn't it? Now this could be an advantage for Joseph Parker on the right because he's going to swing at that chin, and it's actually slightly easier to just swing slightly upwards to that chin there than it is downwards to that chin there. But we know that Joe Joyce likes those chopping shots, don't we? Those choppers. So I actually think Joe Joyce chopping shot knockout. Probably the first few rounds will be a bit of a bit of fiddling here and there. Everyone trying to, you know, mix it up and move around, and a few body shots go in from each man, a few jumps back, a few moves him round to the ring, and then I think it opens up in like not the late rounds, but like the mid rounds, and when it does, Parker fancies himself as a bit of a technician as well as Joyce does, and I think they have some technical like standoffs in the middle of the ring where neither man wants to give ground and they both start throwing the shots, and I think when that happens, Parker would favour himself because he thinks he's going to get that timing and balance right, and he's got that extra weight behind him. But actually I think it's Joyce who will be able to create a little bit of space and then exploit that little bit of space with a chopping shot. That's what I think, but what do I know? But you can see that one man is a more natural heavyweight, isn't he? Talking to each other now. The nice guys, they're both known as nice guys, but
I think there's too much respect between these two guys. Confident, but
there's a bit there. There's a bit of needle.
A little bit of needle. It's good
it's
to
going to
see.
be, because they're going to be punching each other. They're not going to be, best of friends, are they, when they get punching each other? And Joe Parker ring walk. Samoan ring walk. Samoan ring walk, please. This is when he fought in Samoa. So someone's filming this shit on their phone. It's not right, is it? People have to film it on their phones, man. You'd be surprised that things you don't get on YouTube, isn't it? Like, you think the people who are promoting the boxing would have all the ring walks on a YouTube channel promoted. There's a YouTube channel for somebody. Record all the ring walks and get them all up on a channel, because someone will want to watch them like I do now. Joe Parker's Samoan ring walk images. He comes out with these actual like Samoan. What the fuck? Not even pictures. This is the best you're gonna get. He walks into the ring with these chuffers, with the chilies around their neck and actual Samoans. He walks into the ring with them. You're watching the Hearthstone portion back. You played a minion that cost your highest spell and your spell hit. Yes. Did you see that? Yes. Yes. They're fucking with me. That was funny, wasn't it? That was funny. Uninstall. Yeah. It doesn't happen when I'm playing offline. I fucking, win a game or two, but Big Joe the Samoan. Big Samoan Joe from New Zealand. Can I get any more Samoan Joseph? I'm surprised, like, where's all the publicity for Joseph Parker and his Samoan ring walk? Parker, I wanted to see whether it said where he was born or whatever. Nationality New Zealander, born in New Zealand it says, but he's got this Samoan connection. That they, wearing all the things. Anywho, I'm going for Joe Joyce. I like Joe Joyce. I'm going for him to win. I like them both, really, actually, as fighters go, but I want Joe Joyce to win more. He's British for a start, Joe Joyce. And what's interesting as well is that Joe Joyce is in line for a title shot. He's the WBO mandatory, so he doesn't have to take this challenge. He could just bide his time and take his title shot, but he's gone for a bit more of an interesting fight. So I think that is interesting. I think it's good to do. I'm looking forward to that on Saturday. It'll be alright. That's tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah. And I predict this guy to actually score the proper knockout. Not by points. It could go to points, because I think Joe Joyce could take punishment. I think Parker can deliver it, and then maybe Parker doesn't have that, finishing power. I might be wrong here. Parker might have bulked up a bit more and, you know, have exactly the right technique to finish this. Andy Lee's a very capable and shrewd trainer, but I'm not saying my money's on Joe Joyce, but I'm hoping Joe Joyce wins anyway. Yeah. So now, again, we're going to have to find a better game for this stream. Take ages going on Steam looking at things. I'll have to get that one that you suggested on the you know, the swimming around one. Anyway, you be good, my little pucos. And if you can't be good, then you're naughty.